Giving you the meaning. Now, can anyone tell me the meaning of alliteration? Can anyone tell me the meaning of alliteration? What is alliteration?
Ma'am, alliteration means repetition of sound
Okay, very
of a
good.
first letter.
Yeah, very good. So when there is a repetition of a consonant sound, okay, repetition of a consonant sound. We know vowels in consonant, yeah? So when there's a repetition of a consonant sound at the start of two words, two consecutive words, you can say, two or more consecutive words, okay?
Ma'am, but sometimes the words need not be consecutive.
Yeah, two or more consecutive,
Or
or
ma'am,
they come
you can
together.
say ma'am nearby consonant.
Sorry,
You can say ma'am repetition of nearby consonants.
nearby, you can say yes, but usually they are in the same sentence.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this is alliteration. Now, for example, I'll give you one example also. For example, from the burning bowels of the earth. Okay, so this is one example from a poem, Snake of the Earth. Okay, so you see B and B. So it is a repeating sound. Okay, so now when I say sound, that doesn't mean the word. The sound should be similar. Okay, the sound should be repeated. Okay, clear? Alliteration is clear? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Next we do is antithesis. What is antithesis? Antithesis is, I did this yesterday itself. Antithesis is use of opposite
The
words.
use of some opposite words.
Yes, use of opposite words. Okay. And these are in close placement. They are not together, but they are in close placement. Okay. For example, you can just take a screenshot of everything we are doing. Okay. Or you can write it. It's up to you. For example, every night from dusk to dawn. Okay. So here, dusk and dawn are opposite. Dusk is sunrise and dawn is your sunset. Okay, so we have two opposite words. They are not together. If they would have been together, it would have been an oxymoron. They are not together here. Okay, because we have two in between. So dusk and dawn. So this is our antithesis. Okay. Now, now we do assonance. What is assonance? What is assonance? Can anyone tell me? What is assonance?
Ma'am,
Assonance is,
is it
yeah.
ma'am? Is it mean repetition of vowel sounds?
Yes, it's a repetition of a vowel sound within a sentence. Okay, repetition of a vowel sound. Okay, sound. For example, all the men and women merely players. Okay, now here what is happening is that the E sound, the vowel E sound is being repeated. I'm not saying that M or any other consonant word is repeated. The E sound is being repeated, and E is our vowel, right? So all the men and women. So in men, women, merely, players. So this E sound is being repeated. So this is our assonance. Okay. For example, good, gracious, how you hop. So here O sound is being repeated. Okay. Now, again, the opposite of assonance is consonance. What is consonance? Yes, very good. Repetition of a consonant sound. Okay. So here, for example, I can give in this. So here you have to make sure one thing. So what is the difference between consonants and alliteration? In the alliteration, what happens is that the sound. Yes, Aryan.
Ma'am, in alliteration, ma'am, the consonant sound is repeated at the beginning.
At the beginning, whereas in consonants, it can be in the beginning, middle, or the end of the word. Okay, so that is consonant sound. For example, I'll just try to give one example. Okay, so this is Dan unswept stone. The sound is being repeated here. So that is consonants. Okay. Now we have enjambment. What is enjambment? We did this yesterday. What is enjambment?
Ma'am, enjambment is breaking of sentences without punctuation marks.
Okay, very good. Yeah. No, it should be in a sentence. It should be in one sentence. So, for example, here, na, Dan unswept stone. It is a part of a sentence. Okay. So every time you figure out a poetic device, many times it is in one sentence only. But if it is a sentence, but if it is in a sentence, even if I say there is Dan and unswept stone, still it's consonants. If it is separated by and, okay, it should be in a sentence. That's it. In between, you put how many words you want, you add and or the, doesn't matter. It should be in one sentence. Okay. Okay. So coming to enjambment is when a sentence continues continues into two or more lines in a poem. So that is enjambment. Okay, when a sentence continues into two or more lines in a poem. Example we did yesterday in that poem, childhood poem only. Okay, all that the adults seem to be, they act so lovingly, they talk of love, preach of love. Okay, enjambment clear? Okay, next.
Please wait.
Hyper. Oh, okay, sorry. I'll just dictate. Enjambment is when a sentence continues into two or more lines in a poem. Written, Aryan?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah, even if the punctuation mark is there, it should be like a paragraph. I'll just give you one example more. It's a poem, okay? It's a stanza in a poem. They tell them a curious story. I don't believe it's true. And yet you may learn a lesson if I tell the tale to you. Okay, now you see three lines are said in a continuous form. It's very difficult to distinguish whether this was a poem or this was just a lines that I just said. Okay. Or once upon a time, a frog croaked away in Bingle Bog. Every night from dusk to dawn, he croaked on and on. Again, enjambment. Okay, hyperbole. What is hyperbole?
Ma'am, it is a stress on a particular sound.
No, hyperbole is when we exaggerate something. When we exaggerate something. Okay, when we exaggerate something, that is hyperbole. For example, there was one poem in class 10th. If you, I guess you didn't have that poem. Ozymandias. Has anyone read that poem, Ozymandias? In that,
No,
poet,
ma'am.
the poet says that Ozymandias is saying, "My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings." Okay, so he say that he is King of Kings. Now he's not actually King of Kings. He is just exaggerating it. When we say he is King of Kings, okay, that is exaggeration. Clear? Okay. Now imagery. What is imagery?
Ma'am, imagery is a poetic device which is used for imagination.
Yeah. So what happens is that
Ma'am,
in
for
the
dis-
poem, yes, tell me, Shwarya.
ma'am, for description.
For description, very good. So we use such senses, we use our visual senses, auditory, all of these senses are created in the poem, to give a real life image in your mind. So that when you are reading the poem, you can actually imagine everything. So that is imagery. For example, in childhood poem, there was no imagery, there was no sense in that, our senses that, we could imagine all of that. So there was no imagery. Okay, so imagery is creation of any sensory effect. Okay, sensory effect. So basically, it creates scenes in the poem. You can imagine that exactly it's written. Okay, so when you
And we
create
can also use some sensory words also.
sensory, yeah, there can be some sensory effects also. For example, there was one poem that we did, I guess in term one, the bird. There was one poem.
The
In term
laburnum top.
The laburnum top. Remember the laburnum top? The poem was as such that we could imagine everything. We could imagine a tree. We could imagine a bird coming into the tree and leaving. We could imagine the nest. The poem was created as such. So there was imagery in that poem. Clear?
Yes,
Any
ma'am.
sensory effect can be visual, auditory, no, and kinesthetic, organic, anything. Any kind of effect can be. Imagery, yeah. Imagery is in a poem that poet writes such words that you can imagine what is happening. For example, in Laburnum Top, there were some sounds that were written, that the bird is whispering, the bird is chirruping. So when it was written chirruping or whispering or, sounds like that, we could imagine the bird making that sound. Yeah. For example, in child